Alright guys, so it's one of the new days here in Changting, in my dad's hometown where he grew up. And so this is actually literally where my dad grew up. This is his old home. So I'm about to take you through the old home, and it's really cool. So let me go ahead and flip the camera over right now. Alright, so this is kind of like the little alleyway that you'll see. But up here, right ahead of me, is where my dad's old house is. So let's go ahead and take a look on what it's like. But my dad's hometown has really become like a hotspot tourist destination, just like I said. So if you look right over to the right, this is all like a newly constructed place, and I think it's actually like maybe like a kind of like a hotel stay type of thing, because you'll see like you know, hotel numbers, and it's actually really nice. Let's I don't think it's opened yet. I still think it's newly under construction, but yeah, you can see really just how nice all of it is right here. Really clean, really aesthetic. Of course, you have like, you know, flat screen TVs in there and everything of that sort. Let me see if I can give you a better look. But it's kind of interesting because, you know, China is under such quick development, and specifically with my dad's village, it's become a tourist hotspot. So they're, for the last good couple of years, they've been demolishing all of the kind of like ghetto old stuff and replacing it with really nice looking traditional and modern type of buildings here in my dad's village. It's so aesthetic. In fact, you know, here, just as a demonstration between like the old and the new, like, you know, you could definitely see the old remnants. Like, you know, take a look at that, right? Old remnants, more old remnants. But then as soon as you get to right here, really new. It's really cool, isn't it? Hopefully my mic quality is okay, because I'm using my phone mic. But anyways, this is the entrance right here. Oh, I think that's one of my uncle's friends. They were playing like, you know, cards or something of that sort. So, and then so.
来这边玩呗。
是，就是，对。Ah. And then, you know, of course, they're growing some plants right now. It's the summer. I'm not sure what vegetable that is, but it's, you know, definitely used for cooking. If you want to take a look at that. Here's one of my uncle's friends, and let's take a look. So it's so cool because a lot of this stuff, you know, of course you guys don't know, but it's new to my dad's home. 你好，你好。
那拍起来了啦。
是，
我们走。
哎，好，慢走。And then here, take a quick look. So this entire wall and these steel bars are completely new and so nice and so aesthetic, because I was here about, you know, 2.5, 3 months ago with Gabby and Ari, of course, and my dad, and this wasn't here. It was actually, you know, the old kind of like ghetto third world wall, but they tore it completely down and they replaced it with this nice looking wall. And you know, it looks, trust me, it looks even better in person. These bars and like, they look very, very nice. But as soon as you turn right here, you can see kind of like the old, you know, dilapidated stuff, but it's so cool. And of course, you could go into that room right now. I believe it's closed. I can't open it right now. But, you know, again, here's the main door to kind of like the main area, living space. But I'll show you that in just a bit. And again, all of kind of like this area where my hand's covering, completely new wall. It's like, it looks so nice. And in fact, let's see if I can see it from here. Everything from here is also like, it used to be there, but the outside's been completely renovated and the inside's been completely renovated, and it looks so nice. The government has given a lot of subsidies to a lot of the people that live here, because again, my dad's village has become a tourist town, and so in order to attract more people to come, they really want to make it so that, you know, the people that, you know, all the buildings, all the living spaces look really nice from where we are. But, you know, just to kind of show you guys, you know, that it is kind of like they're getting rid of a lot of the old stuff and building new stuff. I mean, if you take a look right here, new front gate, new, you know, this wall, and of course the hotel kind of area is there is new. But if we look down here, still, you know, this is like the old remnants of stuff. So the development of China really is unbelievable. And here, if I zoom in right here, you kind of see like, you know, like this kind of like old, you know, like communist type of looking building. Doesn't look the prettiest. Maybe it doesn't show very well up on camera, but trust me, it's not the best looking building around. But you look at, you know, maybe this white building, right? Oh, I'm sorry about that, the blurriness. That white building behind, it's completely new. It looks so nice. Of course, you have, you know, the buildings I showed you guys just now. But here, let's go ahead and how about we take a look at the main living area right here. So let's take a quick look. So this is my uncle and of course Spencer right here. So this is like the main living area that my dad used to live in, and this is from a really old house. It's like, you know, this place is probably maybe 150 years old. So this is from the Qing dynasty, the last dynasty of China. And actually, like, this house again is quite old. Very, very old. So this is literally a relic from the Qing dynasty. Isn't it cool? This is where my dad grew up, and this is actually where Spencer grew up for a little bit too. In fact, his room used to be in that building over there on the first floor. But it used to not look anywhere nearly that good on that building, interior and exterior. It used to look pretty third world. If you third world, you guys would not believe, but the reconstruction's been actually unbelievable. This place again is probably 150 years old or something. So from the Qing dynasty, super cool. And yeah, let me take you guys to look around a little bit more. And right now it's hot, guys. It's like the middle of the afternoon, and luckily today's not as humid. But I wish I could. This red cloth wasn't, you know, there. Oh, 没问题，没问题. Another cool thing is, well, right now you guys can't see it because the red cloth is blocking it. But those are pictures of some of my ancestors or relatives that have like passed away. So you have like my over there is my grandparents on my dad's side, and they passed away a long time ago. There's like that's one of my grandpa's brothers. That was one of my uncles. I don't know who that one. Oh no, that's my dad's oldest brother right there. Again, sorry for you that you guys can't see it too well. Maybe next time when the little cloth is not in front of there. And then this one right here, it's not a photograph, but it's actually like a painting, and it's because those two are my great-grandparents, and my great-grandparents were actually like, or not my both of them, but my great-grandpa was actually a high-level official in the Qing dynasty. So he was a high-level political official in the Qing dynasty. So I think that's like kind of a cool little historic family tree fact. Isn't that really something? History caught in motion, right? But of course you have a little bits of, isn't that so cute? You had like a little kid, you know, draw something right on the wall and like permanent marker. Of course, this is probably relatively recently, probably within the last couple of years or something. I just think that's cute. But this is the kind of the main living area. Let me go and take you through like maybe some other parts of the house. So hold up. I gotta walk slow because of my knee. But I just think it's really cool. You know, this place is full of history, and you know, it's hard to explain to somebody who didn't live here and everything. But again, it's a very, you know, it's like a, this is a old place, very old traditional place. But again, you can see kind of like the older dilapidated parts. But then right next to there, you see like these like newly constructed like white and, you know, dark brown wood buildings that are completely new but traditional looking. And so, you know, I can imagine in like 5-10 years time, you know, all these old dilapidated parts are going to be gone, and it's going to just look, you know, the entire town's going to look so just aesthetic and amazing. So that's one of my aunts. So that's like my the uncle, my second uncle that passed away. That's well, that was his wife. And I don't remember these two dogs. I think they might be new. Oh, you can tell this dog's had puppies. Yeah. There's one dog. I don't know where the other one went, but you know, old. This is my so the second aunt you just saw. This is where she lives, and of course her son, so my cousin and his wife live here. And it's like, you know, pretty actually, I'm gonna say kind of like a tall building, must be like 4 stories or something like that. If you take a look, you know, this is like the older, you know, old interior of the place. I'm not gonna go in because you can see the dog are maybe right there. And the thing is, dogs in China, they will bite, especially country dogs, for who they see as strangers. So I'm not gonna go in because I actually like prefer my ass in one piece. So of course, here's like the other building. I think my cousin, the one that I'm gonna have lunch with today. So my aunt, my aunt's son, so my dad's oldest sister, his son, like, you know, asked us to come over to eat with him today. So I think this might be his building. So as you can see, the old traditional Chinese buildings, at least here in the south, you know, you'll have maybe like 4, 5 families, multiple generations sometimes living together, but they all have like kind of their separate areas within this kind of like larger, like or larger mini complex. And it's a very interesting thing. So, you know, like, because China's modernized, a lot of people, of course, they live, you know, like in a Western fashion, to where like they have their own apartments and they live, you know, and they're by themselves, separate from everybody else. You know, that's of course becoming a lot more common. But here in rural China, especially, you know, where things are still kept more traditional, you still have a lot of times families living together. You know, like if you're brothers and your sisters, you might still live in this kind of like, you know, larger home and like have a separate section for yourself in the area. And again, I wish I could show you guys more, but some of the doors are locked because, you know, some people, my family, my relatives are gone off to work in everything. So unfortunately, I can't show you guys everything, but it's really cool. And there's some, you know, little quick historical fact too. So Mao Zedong, or Mao Zedong, or Chairman Mao of China, he actually came here to Chongqing, my dad's hometown, multiple times. He stayed here, especially during like the, you know, a couple important historical meetings. I think during the Long March, he stopped here as well. I think he stopped here in Chongqing at least like 7 times, because during that time, you know, the Communist Party, Mao, etc., they really tried to support or gear towards the working class, or like the peasantry, poor people, right? And of course, don't look at Chongqing now. It used to be extremely poor, you know, well, especially back then, but even like 20 years ago, it was like, you know, very poor. You guys could not believe how poor Chongqing was here even 20 years ago. But no, it's for a lot of reasons here in Chongqing, it's become a tourist kind of place. And you know, of course, you have ancient times. It's the home of the Hakka people, Kejia people, a sub group of Han Chinese. But then also, in more modern Chinese history, you have like, you know, the CCP, or the Chinese Communist Party, and even, you know, the even Mao. He came over to China, stayed over here several times actually. So I think Jackie Chan actually stayed here. I'm sorry, not Jackie Chan, but Jackie Chan actually donated quite a bit of money to, I think, make like a one of those like big fancy buildings. Like, I'm not sure if you can see it in the distance, but that building right there in the back, we actually were there. I showed you guys some videos of that. I think he donated like a building here in China, in not China, but Chongqing. So isn't that so cool? Like catching history, you know, history right here. 150 years old, maybe even older. Yeah. But if you guys have any questions for me about, anything about maybe China, can't guarantee you I know everything, but if you guys have any questions, just let me know, especially about maybe sometimes like, a lot of like rural China or like, here in Chongqing, because, of course, a lot of people, even in China, they don't know too much about like certain parts of its own country, because China is actually quite a diverse country. You have like people up in the north live quite differently in the south, and even people in the south live quite differently from each other depending on the area. So if you guys have any questions about it, don't be afraid to ask. And even in, and especially obviously in the West or outside of China, you guys, probably don't know comparatively anywhere nearly as much about, the living space here. So if you guys have any questions, definitely let me know. If there are enough questions and everything, I'd be totally down to do maybe some Q&A about, anything, not just like about China, but, anything about my life or, any questions you guys have. I'm totally down to do maybe a Q&A, answer any questions you guys have. This is my dad's home. Again, I wish I could show you guys more, but this is what it is. And, I really do think in like 10 years time, a lot of these old dilapidated buildings are going to be gone. And man, I can only imagine how Chongqing is going to look in like 10 years, looking so, aesthetic and new, and all the old, kind of third world buildings are gone. I mean, already Chongqing compared to 10 years ago is, it's unbelievable. It really is. It's like, if you can still recognize it. Hey! This is my cousin and his wife. Hey, 今天你好。哎，嫂嫂你好，嫂子你好。什么时候回来的？大前天。啊，是。差不多。差不多。
我觉得现在哪里都冷。
是，真是。
哦，对。
我昨天买了，因为感觉哇，挺好。
这个有用吗？
没有。
女孩子。
And so you may have seen my cousin's wife, is sometimes in order to escape from the heat, especially the women, because they don't want to tan too much, they'll put like hoods and, everything on with like a really thin but like breathable, kind of like a jacket. So it looks like it's, they're hot, but actually it's like they're about as cool as if they were wearing like a t-shirt or like a tank top or something like that. Because it's designed to, keep the sun away from you, so you don't, tan too bad. Plus, if you tan too much, it's not gonna be that good for your skin either. But that's one of my cousins just walked by. That's the aunt that talked to me earlier. That's his son and his wife. That's his son and his wife. And so I call him Jian Jian. So I think he must be like maybe 15, maybe 20 years older than me, something like that. I don't know. That's quite a gap, isn't it? But that's like another one of my family members. You can see, like my family members, my cousin, my extended family, they treat me quite well, and I couldn't be luckier to have them as family, of course. But anyways, guys, I think that's gonna be maybe about it for showing you guys the house. So, until then, guys. Let me go ahead and zoom in on my cousin. Till then, guys, I'll talk to you guys next time. All right, guys. So I know I said that, that'd be the end of the vlog, but I came over to my one of my cousins, like the one that I'm having dinner with, right after the to show you guys my dad's old place, and I want to give you guys kind of like a realistic look of what older China used to kind of be, right? Because it's like, of course, China's really good and it's developing, but like I guys also want to show you guys kind of the older part, maybe like the more third world part that's quickly disappearing in China. But I think it's fair to show you guys what life is like, and like the more older parts too, the more kind of dilapidated part. So, of course, again, in China, the more rural of a place you come from, like the small village places, tend to be, poorer, for sure. They don't have as much. And so, of course, here are a lot of my family members at like my other cousin's place. I know I've said uncles, cousins, and aunts and everything, but guys, you gotta realize I have a huge extended family in China. It's like every time I come over, I meet people I've never met before, and they go like, "Oh, I'm your so and so and so," and I just accept it. I'm just like, "Oh, okay." Oh, this is my my dad's oldest sister, and her son's the one, or my cousin's the one I'm having. He invited us for dinner. And in case you guys are wondering, you know, what's up with her leg? Short story. So I forget which of my uncles. I think it's this one right here, my fourth uncle. One of my dad's older brothers, the one smoking right now. When they were kids, I think he must have been like 12 years old, 14 years old, and then like there's my cousin. He just walked through. He was giving my aunt like not a piggyback ride, but basically she was like sitting on his shoulders, and then like she fell backwards, and then, you know, of course my fourth uncle like grabbed her by the leg because, you know, he didn't want her to fall on the floor. But then I think he, like, you know, maybe accidentally like dislocated her hip or something like that. And of course back then in China, you know, way back in like the 60s and 70s, you know, you barely had, you know, any good medical technology. Everybody was super poor then, so she never, you know, got it really repaired. And so now that's why she's, you know, like, you know, crippled or disabled as she is, but, you know, still one of the nicest, sweetest ladies ever. And she could have surgery to have it corrected today, but, you know, she's had it for so long and, you know, had it most of her life. She's like, you know, she's just like, I'm okay with living with it and everything of that sort. But anyways, let me take you kind of through the house to give you guys kind of like a look at old, kind of like, you know, poor China in the rural areas. But these parts are quickly disappearing. Most people are moving from, you know, poor areas like this now into really nice areas and clean, modern. But, you know, again, I want to give you guys a realistic look of what, you know, poor older China was like. So let's go ahead and take a look. Oh, 哎，好好好。现在拍一个视频啊，等一下。There's my uncle. No, it's not uncle, my aunt. So let's take a quick look. So here we go. And you guys can see, you know, I want to give you guys like a real look of, you know, what older China was. Chickens running around everywhere. There's everybody. Right? Of course, here's the dinner table everybody's going to be in. So of course you can see everybody lives in a very humble life. And here's the thing, I'm pretty sure the bathroom is going to be kind of nasty, but, you know, I'll save you guys the sight of that. Oh, there's my cousin. Hi, Xiaoyi. Hi, ha ha ha. But the food does look delicious. Look at that, guys. Look at that. The food is going to be delicious. Cat. And here, let me show you the kitchen. So, kitchen is right here. There's rice being made. Of course, you got vegetables. And, you know, my cousin Xiaoyi used to, or maybe he still is. He like works as a cook or something in a restaurant or something. There he is right now. So he's a killer cook, guys. Oh, there he is. I'll say this though, he kind of has a little bit of a drinking problem. He's like an alcoholic, but when he's not drunk, he's like really one of the most wholesome, nicest guys you'll ever meet in your entire life. So, of course, you know, again, it's a very humble place. And you guys can tell, you know, it's a humble place, but people live happily here. And the thing is, people, you know, I'm pretty sure even my cousin Xiaoyi, everybody, they're eventually going to move out to like a nicer place for sure. But again, I kind of want to give you guys a realistic look of what, you know, old, poorer China used to be. Everything like that. I think that's the bathroom right there, but I'm not going to show you that, guys, because, you know, I don't want you guys to, like, you know, throw up or something like that. But again, you can see things are pretty humble and, you know, everywhere here. But again, people are super friendly, super kind all over here. And we're all preparing to eat. He's making food right for all of us right here. And of course, there's some of my family. Oh, there's my aunt. And look at that. Black chickens. I've never seen black chickens in my life. my cousin, the one that's cooking, you know, because me and Spencer, my brother, are back from back right now visiting. He, you know, specially just, you know, got a chicken today and butchered the chicken, slaughtered, but butchered the chicken for us. So it's like, you know, it's like a kind of like a, you know, big event because we don't come to, you know, here in Chongqing all that often. So, you know, some really good, delicious food. Organically raised chicken, you know, straight from you. I mean, you raise it, you feed it, do everything yourself. So, you know, it's really cool. And yeah, that's my cousin's place, guys. Yeah. So this time for real, I'll, you know, this. All right. So it's time to eat right now. So I think that's the real, like, you know, for real this time. That's it for this vlog. So again, peace, and I'll see you guys later.